trauma routines, which we translate into patterns that once protected you, but now keep you from exploring the next chapter of your life. Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to Cloudisms. I'm Claudia Cauterucci. I'm a Washington, D.C. based psychotherapist. I'm an author, and I'm the creator of the dynamic Re-Evolution curriculum. And if you're new to this channel, welcome, bienvenidos, bienvenue. I don't know any other languages to say welcome in, but you get my vibe. Welcome. If you're new to this channel, just know that I post different types of content. Cloudisms are a way that I use, it's my own personal slang that help us mentally reframe, emotionally calibrate, and spiritually connect to the now moment. It's a slang that I use inside my psychospiritual ecosystem here on this channel. So they're little sound bites. They're little slang sound bites, although sometimes I'm going 30 minutes long on them, so that you have catchy phrases that you can remember and that will remind you of a way to come back to yourself, to be centered. It's like an affirmation, or if we're talking about cognitive behavioral therapy, that's what it does. It gives you a phrase that you can use right there to replace a negative phrase. The other thing I do on this channel is that I put my podcast, and in my podcast, I talk about larger, huger themes. And what I do is I do my all is in the small is in the all approach, where I take things that happen with individuals and I track it. I just move it all the way out into the collective, into what we do as groups, as nations, and as cultures. That's where I do most of that talk, and I have guests come on, all of that. I go really big on my podcast. The other thing I do is vlogs, and mostly I do vlog series. I'll take a psychospiritual topic and I will talk about it in the way that I talk about it, in my Cloudism way, so that it's accessible. I take like big ideas, big psychological concepts, and I break them down, or what I'm seeing in my everyday practice. So just there's different thumbnails for each of those. In any case, you'll learn from all of them. So get your PhD on me journal. And by the way, spoiler alert, I'm going to be having for Black Friday PhD on me journal in my new store. And that's coming, but shh, or spread the word for Black Friday. I'm launching my online store. You're going to see a lot of fun stuff. And part of the fun stuff you're going to see is the PhD on me journals. All right, let's dive right in. Let's talk about what every trauma survivor knows deep in their spirit. And listen, even if you don't identify as a trauma survivor, I do. I actually talk about myself as a trauma riser, and that's a Cloudism, that we take our trauma, we heal it, we alchemize it, we transmute it, we transform it, and bam, we evolve it. And that makes us trauma risers. But there's some things that sometimes trauma folks don't talk about it because of shame. And I just did a Cloudism on shame shares. And sometimes it's because no one's talking about it, we don't talk about it to each other. So let's talk about it. What I call trauma routines. Trauma routines are in some ways amazing because as trauma survivors, we don't know what a stable, nice, easy, predictable routine is, and routines help us calm our central nervous system. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. Let's just start with the fact that for trauma survivors who lived in so much chaos and unpredictability, especially in terms of complex post-traumatic stress, routines are part of your chill protocol. Go look at that Cloudism. I just dropped it over the weekend. Part of your chill protocol. Okay, so let's just start there. We're going to dive a little deeper. However, check it out. Trauma can keep you stuck in a routine that feels safe, but it also keeps you from growing. So I'm not talking to the newbies who are just starting on their healing journey, where routines, what I call rituals, RIC, right? We talk about them as rituals because they give us so much. They make us internally rich, and rituals is a Cloudism, by the way. I'm not talking to those folks because we need to establish our rituals. But why can it keep us stuck? Routines are predictable, stable, non-threatening. And predictable is like a warm bath, a beautiful waterfall over your nervous system when you have a trauma history. So if your childhood lacked safety, consistency, or care, if your nervous system was raised in environments of danger or chaos, neglect, if you lived through unpredictability or the horrific surprise, and the reason why I use the word horror a lot when I'm posting is because the first person I heard it from was Bessel van der Kolk, who wrote the book, The Body Keeps the Score, which is the Bible for all trauma survivors and trauma healers and trauma risers. Because he talks about experiences of trauma that feel like horror. They're not just normal scary things. They're horrifying. And mostly they're horrifying because there's such an alone experience, especially for children. Children are left alone in this world. Even if you're in the house, noises, darkness, feels scary. You know why? Because it's abnormal. We're supposed to be cared for. All mammals are supposed to have the big mammals around us. And we're supposed to be scrunching up and cuddling up and really feeling extremely protected by the adult mammals around us. And if you don't have that, your central nervous system is going to always feel like you're flailing, like you're on a free fall. So let me reiterate, these routines are not optional. They're actually medicine. We prescribe it. When I start working with people, I prescribe this. Let's find rhythms, rituals, yes, routines. So as Bessel van der Kolk says, trauma is horror. Horror about what came out of nowhere. Horror of not being prepared. Horror of feeling very, very small in a world that doesn't feel safe. And when we have flashbacks, we feel incredibly small and terrified. So routines are essential for healing the central nervous system. I'm going to get a little repetitive so it really gets through that there's beauty in this. But that's not what I'm going to talk about today, because once you're more healed, those same routines can keep you stuck. So let's talk about why newness feels terrifying, even the good type of newness. When trauma survivors consider doing something new, even something expanding, even when you know that you're moving on to your next step of growth, your next step of evolution, I call it the up level, their body, your body, remembers the sensations of trauma. Let's list them. It feels jolting, shocking. Your heart might drop. Your stomach might flip. You might dissociate. You might freeze. Hold your breath. You might shake. There's like the other shoe's going to drop terror. What if this feels good right now, but something terrible is going to happen? So even exciting new chapters, new love, new opportunities, new cities, new careers, new investments, new money. You might come into new money. It can feel dangerous. They can feel scary because they're unpredictable, because you don't know what's next. You don't have the routine for it. So trauma immediately pairs or associates unpredictability with threatening. So let's talk a little bit about the secure versus the insecure exploration loop. So when we talk about secure attachment, a securely attached child who feels loved, swaddled, who can go to parents anytime they want, who has a great separation cry. And I want you to memorize this. All mammals have a separation cry, which means that when we cry out, the big mammals come to us. They help us. They respond to our cry for help. So a securely attached child, because they feel so grounded in safety, stability, belonging, all root chakra stuff, all root chakra ingredients, they actually feel super free to explore. So it's an interesting thing. The safer you are, the more you touch, the more you play, the more you run, because you know you're going to look back and your big mammal, your parent, is going to be right there keeping you safe. You can trust it. Securely attached people explore. But a child who is afraid and who has trauma cling. They cling to what they know. In adult terms, that might look like codependency. They cling to what's familiar, what doesn't move, because exploring felt like danger. That includes maybe big adults who wanted to explore you. Those things are dangerous. This is a child who's right next to the parent, or maybe completely ignoring the parent because they feel like, who cares? Who cares? My parents not there for me anyway. So love felt dangerous. People felt dangerous. Home felt dangerous. The world felt dangerous. Get this. Your own body felt dangerous. That's why we leave it so much. That's why we dissociate, because being in it, there's too many uncomfortable feelings that are related to feeling in danger. So when your root chakra, I talk about root chakra healing a lot, the seat of safety, belonging, and stability is shut down or imbalanced, the whole world feels dangerous because your place of safety just locks down. So hypervigilance is like a constant hum. It's always humming underneath everything else throughout your day. That hypervigilance is humming. For some, that hum might look like ADD or ADHD or general anxiety disorder or OCD. It might look like anger. It might look like codependency. For others, it might look like addictions, to just quiet the hum, to relax the nervous system. I can't tell you how many people say, I drink or I use drugs just to finally relax my body, to turn the mind off. Of course, it catches up with us later. For others, it might show up as compulsions or chronic self-soothing, maybe through porn, maybe through eating, right? This need to self-soothe that ends up not feeling so helpful afterwards. So of course, routines feel good. Of course, sameness, doing the same thing, feels good. Of course, predictability is yes. I want predictable. Routines don't move. They don't change. They don't shock you. Sometimes even the very predictable, safe spouse becomes part of that routine. And it's beautiful. It's beautifully safe. But also, it has a little bit of danger where boredom can turn into stuckness unless the couple is talking, right? Or going to therapy, or both are evolving. But otherwise, there's many couples that hit this place of, we do the same thing. We stop talking. Actually, part of the routine is you're not checking in with each other about exploration. The great trauma irony is, it's ironic. It's like a paradox, because you don't want to be in boring, but you don't want to be in chaos either. And this is a big nuance of PTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And CPTSD is, let me repeat, it's trauma that occurs over a long period of time. It's consistent, it's pervasive. It might come in multiple forms, and it usually occurs starting in childhood, and it's relational, it's chronic, and it's cumulative. Go ahead and look it up. Here's the irony. You crave routine to stay away from the danger that shaped you, but you sort of also crave danger because routine feels boring. It's what I call the edge. When you're a CPTSD survivor or have anxiety or grew up in chaotic homes or alcoholic homes, you know how to live close to the edge. You're right on the edge of the cliff, and you see those people over there in the village with their hammocks and they're going to the marketplace, and you're like, wow, they live in peaceful, safe places, but is that boring? Although being this close to the edge, terrifying. The edge for trauma survivors is familiar. That's why you see so many vets who come back and they just don't know how to do a Saturday birthday party or go to the supermarket. They feel extremely bored, and that in itself is triggering because their nervous system has been amped up on being so close to the edge. And it's where you can live for a very long time. Just know that. That's why you're attracted to edgy things that might not make you feel good in the long run, by the way. It's very confusing. I want routine, I want safety, I want like sameness, but at the same time, you're like, but I feel so stuck. So if you don't have consciousness or awareness, which is what this channel is all about, trauma survivors actually bounce. They bounce here. Boring, trauma. Stuck, chaos. Predictability, dopamine hits. So you might be like in drama a lot. You might want to create a little drama. You might triangulate. You might use narcotics, for example, to feel the edge. Anyway, there's a million examples, but I know you're already thinking of it. There's an urge to thrill seek. Addictions become your source of excitement. Trauma bonding becomes a way to feel intensity. Self-sabotaging, yeah, well, that's really familiar, which keeps you away from your next level. Doom scrolling over and over and over becomes sort of this fake exploration. You feel like you're traveling to other places, but you're not really. You've been on the couch for 3 hours. Because if you grow, if you evolve, if you step into the new, if you actually do it, you feel triggered and your body might be saying, alarm, alarm, alarm. This feels like danger. So then you go back. You run back to your trauma routine, or you escape into fantasy. It's a big one. Lots of fantasy. And you escape into coping behaviors. And that, my love, is the trauma routine trap. Those are the ingredients. So always on this channel, we talk about what's practical, what's portable. Let's bring it home to planet Earth where you know what to do. And this is exactly what Cloudisms are for. So what to do? What's the trauma routine reset? Number one, awareness. Awareness. Always say, observer, turn on. Like you say, Alexa, turn on. I better not say that too loudly because she'll turn on. Observer, on. You have language for the trap. Know that you're stuck between boring and chaos. Number two, identify without judgment. Pull out your PhD on Me journal or the one you're going to buy during Black Friday and identify your edge-seeking behaviors. Where do you get your hit? How do you recreate that feeling of edge? It might be with someone who's alcoholic or violent, by the way, or who's always pulling their love away from you because you got to like chase, fight for being loved. That's an edge. Addictions, doom scrolling, overworking, emotionally unavailable people, revenge success, proving them wrong energy. Write them all down. Zero judgments. Just know them. It's sort of like shadow work. Because remember, these will ambush you if you don't catch them first. They'll show up. Number three, notice how you feel afterward. This is a big one. Talk about this a lot with writing down what the hard moments with the narcissist. Same idea. Think of it as the hard moments with the shadow. If you write down what you feel afterward, for example, many high achievers realize their success was built against someone, not for themselves. It doesn't soothe their central nervous system. In fact, it destabilizes it. I want you to feel like when you're in fantasy land or when you're using one of your coping mechanisms, porn, overeating, lots of just doom scrolling, just being somewhere else. What does it feel like afterwards? You might feel like, oh, I didn't do anything. Those little dopamine hits add up and you crash and you feel bad about yourself. Or you might buy all of this stuff at Amazon and then everything's open on the floor and then you feel like it's like a hangover. It's like a emotional hangover where you feel sort of icky. So let's move into that. Let's move into number 4, which is spot your fantasy escapes. Again, porn's a good one. Romance novels. I know folks who don't stop reading romance novels, and I love romance novels, are completely transporting. But you already know if you're always escaping your life into those novels. Social media for sure. Sometimes it's imagining a whole life that you never take action on. And can you see how all of these are lubricating and self soothing? Like everything, you've got to watch it though, because what do you feel like afterwards? These are sort of safer, not safe, safer, not safe bypasses. I've worked with people who, because they're lonely, they'll end up overeating a meal to feel the company of the food. I know this perfectly. It feels pleasurable. It feels like you're in control. It feels like food is your best friend. It just feels so good in the moment. But then afterwards, when you've overeaten, you also feel like it's exactly what keeps you away from that love relationship, from that partner, because you keep eating. Meaning it's almost like food becomes your boyfriend or girlfriend. And then you feel bad about it. So, number 5 is a really important one, which is the fear of completion. We could call it the fear of commitment, but I don't want to use that word. It's actually completing something. This erodes self esteem. So you'll start things, you'll start the diet, you'll go to the gym, you'll order that puzzle, or I always like the Lego kit, or you start the book, but you don't complete it. And why does this erode self esteem? I call this A to Z. Start A, complete it to Z. Even if halfway through you're like, maybe I don't like real estate, but complete the course anyway. Do it from A to Z, because finishing makes you feel that you could do it. And the platform, whether you liked it or not, it's the platform for trusting in yourself for your next attempt at something. And why is it triggering to complete? Because sometimes for trauma survivors, keys can feel triggering. If I complete this, if I complete my thesis, if I complete this class, if I complete whatever it is that you're trying to complete, feels triggering. It feels like, and then what? What's going to be my next thing? So you don't complete it. Love feels triggering. I say this all the time. Joy, love, consistency. A normal life can feel very triggering because of the other shoe's gonna drop type of stuff. And because these are new feelings, right? We're talking about like being afraid of the new. These are new experiences to feel peaceful, to feel joyful, to feel like things are easy, are new experiences. So you're always like, hey, is this real? What country am I in? So you sabotage to return to the chaos, to the edge that you know. How do we heal this? Because healing is activism. Because if you heal yourself, you're healing the planet. You're healing your ancestral lineage. You're healing your future. Here's the steps. Remove the outcome. Don't think of the outcome. I'm serious. Don't think about changing your whole life. Just take one step. Do the A to Z on one step. Clean the closet. Donate the clothes. Read one chapter. Take one walk. Make one phone call. Send one email. No conclusions, no big decisions, just the next step. Are you writing this down? Are you writing it down? Step 2. If you fantasize, pair it. If you're dreaming of being a digital nomad, pair it with watching YouTube videos about that country. This is intentional. It's not just doom scrolling. Check the airfare. Check the Airbnbs, learn the visa rules. No pressure. You're just grounding the fantasy. You're not just watching hours of couples on the beach in New Zealand. You're pairing it with actual steps that ground it in finding out more. These are steps. Those actions actually dissolve the shame hangover. Step 3. Expect the monsters. When you move out of your trauma routine, you will meet the bullying paparazzi. I like to call them that. Imposter syndrome, the internal bully, always telling you what to be afraid of. This is silly. This is ridiculous. Everyone's going to talk about you, the internal bully, intense monster, but know it by name. Give it a face, give it a character. The who do you think you are? Yep, I know that voice really well. When those bullies, when those paparazzis, when those monsters show up, these are our shadows, say, thank you. You can go now. Now, again, it's a little touch of CBT, which is cognitive behavioral therapy. What you say back, how you stop, or if you really want to be strong, I do this a lot. I say, stop, irrelevant. And I like doing this, do the weird. You've seen my last Cloudisms where I'm like, do the weird, stop, irrelevant, irrelevant, irrelevant to that internal bullying voice. Or you can say, I tell my clients to do this, go ahead and talk to Claudia about that. Send them to me. I've got this, because your inner child needs to know that there's a protector, that you have work to do. You've got homework to do. So you go and talk to Claudia about that. You go talk to someone that you trust, someone who you feel protected by. God, even, just say, go ahead and talk to God about that. Go ahead and talk to my angels or my ancestors about that. Send them away to whoever protects your inner child. Say it out loud or say it in your head, because they're beating you up. This is Cloudism CBT, and it works. Step 4. I mentioned it earlier, but the A to Z prescription. If you start it, you finish it. Of course, unless it's abusive, depleting, narcissistic, or self-harming. We ain't talking about that, because with those things, you quit immediately. Punto, period, moving on. You quit those things if it gives you all of that. The A to Z prescription is more for things like projects, open projects. I like the image of having all these boxes open all over the floor that aren't completed. Clutter, workouts, creative tasks. If you started the puzzle, finish the puzzle. Those things you start and then you abandon. Sometimes I'm like, oh, I could do 2 minutes of push-ups. I do that because I always think, oh, the 2-minute thing, I could do that. Or I'll do like a 2-minute horse stance. I don't know if you guys know the horse stance. Look it up. And then it's like I notice this every time. It's like minute 47 seconds. And I'm like, oh, I'm going to stand up. But I know how I'll feel if I do that. So I push it through to the 2 minutes because I know, right? Because what it does is it makes you feel like, oh, I can't start a diet because I abandoned that one and that one and that one. Or I can't start this project because I abandoned. Can't say I'm going to commit. Remember, just do one step at a time, but do it A to Z. When we don't finish things, it leaks self-esteem. And with A to Z, the next thing you know, you've built a life, you've built self-esteem, you've built momentum, you've built a new identity without forcing it. Be gentle, pace it one step at a time. In 12-step programs, that's why they say one day at a time. When you reach the new level, when you touch that place where you're like, oh, I'm touching my new level, there's steps for that too. And I talk about that in my Cloudism, The Border. Go check it out. So what's in the heart of this Cloudism? Let's recap. Trauma routines saved you. Thank you. We honor them, but you outgrow them. And when you do, it's normal that the world starts feeling terrifying because it's new. Because you can feel when you start to outgrow. You can feel it. You start to feel too contracted. It feels tight, feels boring. It's supposed to, because that's what pushes you. But those little steps, those A to Z's, Cloudism, those grounded fantasies, remember you're pairing a fantasy with a grounded step, those messy actions, that's how you begin to reclaim your exploration. That's how you start building these tiny little bricks towards securely attaching to yourself. Those I did it moments that make us have self-esteem, but it also helps us attach to our authentic self. We feel good about ourselves. That's how you rebuild, open up, heal, unfurl your root chakra. That's how you evolve, my love. So remember, healing yourselves heals your lineage. Healing yourself heals your nervous system, and that's going to feel new and a little scary. It's okay though. Healing yourself heals the planet. More Cloudisms coming. Catch me on the next one. But before we part ways, before you go, can you please subscribe, like, share, comment? Just put a little heart in the comment section, or put a little happy face, or any face that you want on there. Just put it in there. Let's blow a kiss to the algorithms so that this healing momentum starts happening. This is your form of activism. We're transforming humanity's algorithm one person at a time. Let's start with you. I'll see you on the next one.